The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mind Garden media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions. It's another Sandy and Toddcast audio cast. It's Todd and Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Todd. What's going on?
Well, I got to think about this. It's Ghostober yet, and It's time to reacquaint ourselves with Damon and Sue and with Dennis and dig more into investigating the paranormal and some of the stories that they have to share about things that they've done in the past. So I think it's time for us to dig in.
So much experience. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Season 3, Episode 8. This is Ghostober Part 2, and it's on the way next on the Sandy and Toddcast.
Tarot time. If you're listening to this podcast, the divine messages are definitely for you. Let's combine science and magic, shall we? Root cause analysis, business planning, counseling, and good old-fashioned intuitive tarot readings so we can improve your near future circumstances by addressing your present scenarios. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. For more in-depth tarot consultations, please book your readings at positivetarotwisdom.com. Infinite love and blessings for everyone.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
Blah, blah, Ghostober Part 2.
Somebody get that thing away from him, please.
That's what I'm going to sound like when I'm a ghost. I'll be like, blah, oh,
You know what? One could only hope. If you're going to be a ghost, you might as well make it exciting and fun.
Listen, if I'm a ghost, I want to have a little sound machine with me so I can make my voice echo.
So,
Don't go there.
It reminds me, you're going to scare the hell out of somebody. You know what it reminds me of? Like Jacob Marley in...
yes.
Doesn't it kind of?
Kind of.
Oh, you know?
Scrooge.
I thought you were going to say, screw you, Todd.
No, that would be your ghost.
I know. So we are having a great Ghostober. We have had some really cool live casts on our Facebook page and more to come, which is so cool. And they'll probably be spilling over into November because we have so much great content and so many great things going on that it's just going to keep going for quite a while. And of course, isn't the Sandy and Toddcast sort of like Halloween all year long?
I mean, really, I was thinking about this. Like there's network and cable networks for just about anything now. I want to know why there isn't one that just does Halloween.
Yes.
Like not just movies, but Halloween TV shows. I mean, pretty much on Hallmark, you can get Christmas any time of year. Why isn't there Halloween any time of year? That's where we're going to make our money. We're going to do a Halloween network.
Aha! I think we figured it out.
We find all the Halloween specials from all the Peanuts Halloween specials. Garfield's got a Halloween special. You know, you get all those little, I think Paul Lynde back in the day in the 70s had a Halloween special that had the two witches. He had the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
What was her name? Not Emily.
No. Oh, shoot.
And then he had Witchy Poo on from the Hufflepuff Puffin stuff. Puffin stuff.
Yes.
So
you don't like Witchy Poo, though.
I don't like Witchy Poo, but he had those two on. I think AC/DC was on, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or Kiss. No, it was Kiss that was on. And then Paul Lynde had this whole Halloween special that...
Well, I'm looking up...
I should know her name.
Who the Wicked Witch of the West was.
I'm going to be so disappointed.
She was played by Margaret Hamilton.
That's it. But her name was Elvira Gulch.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I was going for the Hamilton lady. I couldn't remember her name, but she was on.
You know what? The Wizard of Oz is a movie that you just want to... Now, I don't live that far from where Frank L. Baum lived or wrote the book, part of the book.
Okay.
And so every year they have a Wizard of Oz type festival. And there's even parts of their streets and sidewalks that are yellow brick road.
So why wouldn't you go to that if you're that close? And it seems like you're somewhat of a fan of the movie. Why wouldn't you go?
You know what? I'm not good with crowds.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that.
Just not. I'm just, I don't know. I just never really have. Let me look that up really quick. It's the birthplace of Frank L. Baum.
Okay.
So that's his birthplace. And so they do a big thing. They haven't, of course, because of COVID the past couple of years, but beautiful little town, really nice. And we have a camp not that far from there. And so we head out that way a lot. And yeah, it's really cool what they do. They even had some of the original Munchkins there a few years. I don't know if there's any of them live.
I think they're all dead now.
Probably.
I think they're all dead.
Probably, but
you know, there's a movie released, actually, the very first theater that it was released in was actually in Wisconsin, not that far from where I live, Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, which is down near Milwaukee, before it was even released in Hollywood or New York or anything like that.
Well, so, you know, that's pretty cool. And it's kind of interesting. I was watching a live stream from Mysterious Chicago not that long ago. Adam Seltzer on Facebook, and he mentioned something about, I believe Frank L. Baum wrote some of the book in Chicago. So yeah, something to do with sense, Chicago. Right? Yeah. So very interesting stuff, but it was a great movie for what it was. I thought it was, I mean, it's been turned into a classic.
But when it came out, it was a big flop and nobody thought it was going to do anything. But you look at some of that stuff and people can say, well, it's cheesy or it's... It was 1938, 1939. The things that they were able to do, that just surpass anything they can do with CGI these days. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, come on,
You know, and do you remember the rumor that was going around about the Munchkin
hanging in the trees and
background?
Stuff? Yeah.
Well, I had one of the copies of that movie, and I sat there, and it literally, truly is one of those big birds that got away.
Sure,
like you know, the flying birds, But what a kind of a great rumor to have attached to it, too. Spooky and creepy. And, you know, I wouldn't like to think of anyone hanging in it, but it was kind of just intriguing.
I'm not sure how we got off of this topic, but I could talk about the Wizard of Oz for hours. Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the Tin Man, but he couldn't do it because they were using aluminum dust instead of aluminum paste, and it got in his lungs and he got very sick and almost died. So they kind of quietly pushed him away and brought in the other guy, who I think did a much better job. I can't imagine Buddy Ebsen as the Tin Man.
No, and you know what else too? From what I understand, it was not easy for Judy Garland at all, especially at her age. And she at one point was a blonde.
Yeah.
And they had her dye her hair for it.
Yep.
I can't even imagine Dorothy as a blonde.
Yeah, but you see some of those screen test pictures. Even the witch look weird, and the screen test for the other characters. They made the right decisions on that movie. And then you hear the background stories about how Margaret Hamilton, when she was the witch in the very beginning, where she kind of comes out for the first time and says, "Who killed my sister?"
Oh,
that whole thing. When she goes away, she falls through a trap door in the set, and then fire comes up. Well, nothing is fake about that. She literally does go through a trap door. Fire actually does blow up, and in the process, her makeup started on fire, and so she got like burns that she was like in the hospital for a while. So,
oh my God,
like there's all these great stories behind the movie about how it almost didn't get finished and how a different director had to be brought in, and that person wanted to change all this stuff, and songs were cut because it was too long and all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, so it was something. Now, have you ever? They do have the Broadway version, Wicked.
I have seen Wicked.
So have I. I've seen Wicked. I thoroughly enjoyed Wicked.
I do not like. I mean, listen, I'll sing Oklahoma where the winds come sweeping down the plain any day, but I'm not really a musical kind of guy.
Yeah,
I do like The Wizard of Oz. But I thought Wicked was so good.
It really was.
Like, it was so good because it gave you a different perspective on the story. It was the same story, different perspective.
Yes. And I will be for most of the times that I've ever gone to musicals, and I do enjoy some of them. But it has to be particular ones. I don't just enjoy a musical for the sake of being a musical. It's something I really want to see. Dave's gone to many of them with me over the years, and he's not the biggest fan. We went to Rent. We did Spam-A-Lot. We did Peter Pan, Grease. And they were all fantastic. But I have to say that for me, Wicked was one of the best. It was so beautifully done. And just like you said, another perspective of it. And I just so enjoyed it. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to go. It's not just a kids type of thing. Adults, it's more actually adult oriented than it would be for a kid, as was Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Wizard of Oz was really adult oriented.
He gave myself away there. I was going to go, you billowing bale of bovine fodder. Quiet, whippersnapper. So try and give me some lines. I'm going to give you some lines. You finish the line, right?
Oh my gosh. All right, I'll try.
That, my dear, is a horse of a
different color.
Yes, very
Yay!
Good. How's this? What makes a king out of a slave?
Oh, that one I don't know.
Oh, you do too. It's a big one from the Lion. What makes a king out of a slave? One word. Courage. That's right.
Courage.
And one more.
Okay.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your
little dog Toto too.
Well,
is that how it goes?
It was your little dog too. Yeah.
Yes. I always felt so bad for Toto.
He made a lot of money. That dog made more money than the Munchkins made. I'm serious. I think there's actually stories like that.
Yeah, there are. Those clickbaits that you find on Facebook.
Yes.
I click on them all the time, and sometimes I go all the way through them. Sometimes I don't because they're ridiculous. But
Sandy clickbait Jean is.
I know. I clicked on. I can't believe you spelled my name wrong too. By the way,
that was the last podcast. But yes,
I know. I can't believe you spelled my name wrong. What was I going to say now? So I'll click on them, and there was one that talked all about the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
And it was behind the scenes stuff, and I thought it was so interesting. Like, there's one for Little House on the Prairie. There's all of them, and I just love them. I'm just like the clickbait queen, apparently, but I don't know how we got off on this topic, but...
Toto, I've got a feeling we're not blank.
In Kansas anymore.
There you go.
Yay!
Very good. Well, I think we've talked enough about the Wizard of Oz. I think we should get to our podcast this week. What do you say?
Let's do it.
This is season 3, episode 8. It's with Damon and Sue and Dennis one more time. This is Ghostober, part 2, the Sandy and Toddcast. Enjoy. If you guys had to choose a place that you've been to, this is going to be a 2-parter, and I want to hear from everybody, but if you had to choose a place that you've already investigated that's in your top 5 or top 2 or top 1, if you can't choose one, what would that be? And then a place that you haven't been to that you are just, you're dying to get into to check out. What are those 2 places for you guys?
Well, I think for me, as bad as it was, I would like to go back to Trudeau Sanatorium and do it again.
You mean a lot better prepared next time.
Yeah, because I don't think we were fully prepared for what we met. Mm-hmm. And I would also like to go to Fort Ticonderoga.
Oh, for sure.
I was there as a child, and I had stuff happen that I didn't understand. I understand now. I saw stuff that I didn't understand that I shouldn't be seeing. As a 10-year-old child going on the class trip, you shouldn't be seeing people standing in the dungeons. And there were people standing in the dungeons. And when I asked the teacher, well, why are they in there? She goes, there's nobody in there. Okay. So we left. Now I want to go back.
Makes sense.
As an adult with the information I have now.
Right.
Without the antipsychosis meds they prescribed you after that event.
No, she's going to stay on those.
Thanks, Todd.
It helps with hallucinations that way.
What about you, Damon?
I would probably, I would concur with Sue on that one. That was Fort Ty has been on my bucket list for a while. It's one of the more local places that is definitely haunted. I would say that the next one up to go to that I haven't been to yet would be Bolt Castle.
I was gonna say
Out in the Thousand Islands. But I would say that I've been to and would want to go again would probably be Trudeau, with a lot more preparedness than before, because that was dark and it took a lot out of all of us.
Yeah.
No, that
Dennis, how about you, Dennis?
The one place that I would love to go back again, and then I only investigated it once, and it was off the charts, was the Overlook Hotel in Little Falls, New York.
Yep.
It looks like something out of a Scooby-Doo show. I mean, this old Victorian mansion, and it was a bread and breakfast. And when we investigated that place, it was insane. I had a prayer book thrown at me. We got stuff in mirrors during the day, stuff during the night, and it was just unreal. I think you stayed there, Sandy, didn't you?
I've never stayed there. Dave's been in there. He's DJ'd in there before, I think once or twice. But that would be on my list of places I'd like to. Because in Little Falls, they've got, what's that place that everyone talks about, Sandy? Beardsley Castle.
Yes, Beardsley Castle.
Okay.
I investigated Beardsley Castle, and yes, it's haunted, and that's been on every show on TV. But Overlook, which is only a few miles away, is to me 10 times more paranormal. It's just insane because there's very tragic occurrences in that place that I don't want to really say. But there's a documentary called Lost Sparrow. If you watch that, then you'll know the bad stuff that happened in that mansion.
Mm-hmm. That's always been so mysterious for me, and I would love to get in there and be able to investigate and feel the energy in there. And also, I think I would love to do something like a Trudeau or something like that.
Trudeau.
I think that would be pretty bucket list for me. I think I would have to go
Trudeau
in pretty
again,
prepared
definitely.
myself. Yeah.
That's going to take a lot of groveling to get back in the Trudeau again.
My favorites, personally, I would say probably the two I would have to say would be Rucker Mansion. I was just talking to Dave about that because Dennis and I, along with Bernadette and Dave Peck from Ghost Seekers of Central New York, were just in an article that came out this month with Accent Magazine. We took the reporter and her friend through the Rucker Mansion, and Dennis and I investigated it, September of last year for Ghost Pubs and Grub, our internet show. And it just insane craziness happened in there. And I would say that would be one of my favorites. And I would also say that the Angry Garlic in Baldwinsville was one of my favorites because I experienced things that night that I truly, and jokes aside, the mist aside, things that I never thought that I would experience. It was sort of like an awakening for me. I
was going to say, it kind of seemed like the place that kind of made you realize where your talents actually lie, you know?
Yeah. A lot. It was times 10 that night, and it sort of hit me in the face, but it was good. It was one of my favorite places because it taught me a lot.
Well, the one place that I would love to get into, and it's the place I stayed it was the day I met Damon and Sue for the first time. And I went up to meet them, and on my way back, I stayed at the Adirondack Hotel, Long Lake.
That's another one.
Absolutely love to investigate it. The owners say it's not haunted. It's absolutely haunted. I had all sorts of stuff happen to me when I stayed there. Staff told me all sorts of stories.
You can feel it from the outside.
Place.
You can feel it from the outside.
Insane. I don't know what it is about them. They won't talk about it. I even had one of their housekeepers say to me, "Well, I don't ghost hunt because I believe in God." That's what this one lady said when I was asking staff questions. But I spent one night in that place, and I was like, man, it's wicked haunted. I'd love to get in there.
Yeah.
But Dennis, that kind of falls in the same category as like when we did Heaven Hill or even Stagecoach to an extent of, all the employees say it's haunted as hell, but the owner's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
We don't want the bad business. And that's the stigma you have up here. Once you get inside the park, it's like, no, we don't want that kind of business.
Do you guys find that when you investigate like restaurants and inns and things like that you find a mixture of owners who some may say, oh, it might actually help business if they find evidence. And then some who say, oh, geez, I hope they don't I don't believe it. I don't think it will. It would hurt our business.
We have that all in one building. Hotel Saranac.
The owners of the Hotel Saranac back us wholly. We've been in there twice. They've had their own experiences there themselves. There's other people that just think it's all a bunch of hogwash.
Yeah, there's a few employees who are like, no, we're not going to do it. You know,
I
the owners want to get on the haunted hotel registry real bad. And
actually, aren't they number 7 in New York State?
They actually in the country. It was the USA Today poll. They made number 7 haunted hotel in the Northeast, I believe it was. Yeah. Which is an awesome achievement, considering they only reopened their doors, 5 years ago? Right?
Yeah. 2013.
So, 2013, Rodell's bought it. They broke ground, so to speak, in 2013. We investigated in 2014, and they opened up 2016.
2016?
No, 2017. 17. So for being around for, a mere 5 years, they've made top 7. That's a huge achievement.
Because again, they embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have the boots on the ground, some of the boots on the ground staff that just don't want anything to do with it. And that's,
even before the Rodells,
in every place.
Even before the Rodells had it, I worked there for 8 years, and there was always some kind of activity going on in that building. Yeah. Always. I had some staff that refused to go on certain floors without somebody else with them. I had one gal call me from the one of the closets going, "Come get me," because I'm not coming out. There are people walking down the hall, and I'm the only one on this floor. There were other words included in that, but I'll clean it up. But yeah, there was always activity in that building. Yeah. I love the Hotel Saranac.
That was our first major investigation.
Yeah. That's how you and I met.
When I was with you guys, that was a great investigation. Remember the top hat moved?
Yep.
Yes, that was perfect. That was one of
the.
I
think I was with you, Sue, and maybe Jess, when we heard footsteps under the bed.
Yes.
Under the bed?
Because
that's where the boogeyman lives.
Yeah, across the floor.
The layout of the rooms aren't what they used to be.
Oh.
So, and in one of the rooms, we used to joke about the ghost cat. And there was a woman that had died in that room. And on that particular floor, the hotel originally had permanent residents. Yep. And then the other 3 floors were regular hotels. And this woman had died. She had a do not disturb sign on the door, so nobody went to go check on her. And she was cranky anyway, so everybody kind of gave her a wide berth, so to speak. Some of the patrons started complaining about a smell. So they opened up the door, found out she had died. And the cat she had was, they literally had to pry the cat off because it wouldn't leave its owner. Yeah. And the girls used to complain to me, and I've had the same thing happen. While you're making the bed, you know how a cat will paw at your foot. You'll feel something paw at your foot while you're making the bed.
Wow.
Yeah. Or you'll find a perfect ring like a cat will do. They'll crawl up into a ball. The bed will be perfectly made, and you'll have a perfect circle on that bed.
Wow.
That's weird.
The other thing that happened there too, which was crazy, is you set up the service for tea down in the Great Hall.
Yes.
And purposely offset a spoon, basically to trigger one of the instructors that has been known to
the hotel was purchased by Paul Smith College, which is known for their hospitality management training and culinary training. So they had bought the hotel as a physical place for them to train, a working hotel. And there was one lady that was very demure. Everything had to be just so. She would teach them how to set tea, proper tea, etc., that type of thing, and how to dress for tea, your mannerisms you're supposed to use. Well, she ended up dying in the hotel. And so just to see if she was still around, again, it's one of those trigger objects. I set up a tea set, an old Victorian tea set, and I purposely misplaced a spoon over here and put a napkin in the wrong place just to see if it would move. And it did. The spoon got put back where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, we were all upstairs. Actually, Dennis was with us on. We were up 2 floors above, and we came back down and were like, who fixed the tea set? Because like literally it was immaculate.
We all went up as a group and we all came down as a group, so there was
the only thing we didn't do is set a live action DVR camera on the settings.
The moving of objects is very interesting to me. Dennis and our team for Ghost Pubs and Grub, we were at the Rucker Mansion, and we had a couple of interesting things happen. We had a dresser move in one of the old bedrooms that literally moved. Nobody was near it. And also, I love the story because it really shows how powerful they can be. When Steve, who takes care of the mansion, essentially, left for the night for us to begin our investigation, he had us lock the door behind him so that people couldn't come in off the street. Yeah. And so we actually, I think, Dennis, didn't we get it on film that we had locked the door?
Yes, we did.
And it was sort of like 3 locks. There was even a chain lock involved. And we all went up, did our investigation, and we ended up in the basement, and we came upstairs from the basement, and we were all relaxed. We were all together. We put our stuff down, and we said our closing prayer for the night. And all of a sudden we hear this noise, and in walks Steve. And it took us a second to kind of realize that Steve walked in and the door was locked. And so something or someone who probably wasn't of this earth actually physically unlocked the door while we were investigating.
Yeah.
That would take a lot of power to be able to unlock a door, 3 locks on a door.
Just out of curiosity, did you have a lot of battery drain?
Dennis did. Dennis is, what did you have, Den? What was it? The Mel meter? Your Mel meter?
Yeah, it died a couple of times. I changed the batteries twice.
We hadn't even made it up the stairs to the 2nd floor at the beginning of the investigation, and it had drained the first time. Yeah. And then we found what we believe to be some sort of vortex going up through the rooms in the house. We were on the 3rd floor, and Dennis and I could feel it, a cold spot, and we could feel some really good temperature fluctuations underneath a table in the middle of a room.
Interesting.
In a circular kind of pattern. And we went down. I said, let's go downstairs and see in the room below it. And we went down, and sure enough, it was in the same spot. And it was reading in the 70s that night. It was still September. And it was a big old closed up house. So it was very warm. And it was still reading pretty warm, except in that one spot. So we thought that was very interesting. That house is alive.
Yeah, how about when we were in the basement and the EMF meter went up to like 60, 70?
Isn't that the Conjuring house?
Yes. Yes. We were getting EMF hits in the 60s, the 70s down there. And actually, as we were going to the stairs to go up, I got an EVP of something apparently looking over my shoulder and saying the reading on my EMF right before I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Dennis, you had stuff go on over at Stagecoach too. You had a couple personal objects get tossed.
Oh yeah, I stayed in that room by myself with the door locked, and I have a rosary. I'm Roman Catholic, but not practicing much anymore. But I bring my rosary with me everywhere. We all have our talismans, and that night. It got yanked off my neck, and Sue was there when that happened, when we were in the one bedroom that goes down to the basement. And I remember I used the pliers and I fixed it.
Yep.
And that's where we determined, Todd, that home had a deacon that had lived there, Sue?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So of course he didn't like seeing Lutheran didn't like seeing my Catholic crucifix, Yep. So I had taken it off my neck and I put it on the nightstand like 5 feet away from where I slept. And when I heard a noise in the middle of the night. And when I got up, my rosary was on the other side of the room and it had been busted.
Wow.
So I obviously picked up, broke it, and threw it.
That's crazy. You guys probably noticed the picture I brought up when I a little bit earlier with the Conjuring house. I wanted to, this thing is up for sale again, $1.2 million. family had purchased
headquarters.
Yeah, we'll just do a fundraiser.
Well, I was going to see how much money. And Dennis is the author. I'm thinking this would be a great place to go write a book, and the rest of us could live in the house.
We'll just hit up Dennis. He's got all that cash now.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you guys think about like purchasing a location? Now, Dennis has a home and everything that is haunted. I'm not sure, Dennis, if you bought it thinking that it was haunted and that's the reason why you bought it. But what do you feel about families that buy locations like this that has history like it does, and then they basically open it up as a bed and breakfast and want people to come through? I just, we all have our thoughts. I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
It's like the people that bought the Amityville house.
Well,
yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's one thing to be haunted, to have, spirits floating around and all that fun stuff, because Dennis and I both have the same situation in our houses. But it's something else when there's something that negative there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sue.
You're inviting that negativity to attach to somebody who's completely innocent, that doesn't know how to protect themselves.
Or you get the Joe Schmo wannabe ghost seeker that decides to go and,
walk through mist.
Yeah, there's that too, or dance on graves, but decides the one that they want to go like do a nonstop, haunted house crawl across the country and hit every single hot spot, and get, be susceptible to crap they don't know what the hell they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's bring our pocket Ouija board with us. And
no.
I don't know. I just think that doing that kind of thing brings on bad karma.
Yeah,
that's where I was going with
It's just like, Todd, how none of us charge for what we do. We do this because it's a pursuit and a passion and a calling.
Exactly.
And we don't charge people money to go in and do investigations. I think that you're starting out on a bad paranormal foot, and to take a house and exploit the spirits for profit, I don't do that.
For sure.
We start when we go into an investigation. I know we all do this. That's here on this forum. We start out with respect.
Yeah.
And if something is negative, we address it right off, that they can't attach to us, etc. And we close with respect. Yep. No matter what happened during the investigation, we always close with respect. And that's, to me, that's half the key. I think you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar type thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Totally agree.
Just throwing up some pictures of you guys and the groups that you're with and the logos and stuff like that, because they're all so cool.
Dennis, tell us a little bit about Haunted Adirondacks. What was your favorite investigation in that book?
Definitely Trudeau. Definitely. Yeah. With Sue and Damon and Abs. No, it's the very first story in the book. And even the publisher agreed. They read all the stories and they changed my order a little bit, but they put Trudeau right up front and center. It was such a compelling investigation. There's just so many buildings and everyone overstuffed with paranormal activity and a different feeling, if we ever get back in there, Sandy.
I would love to get in there.
What is there? Well, when we went to go investigate, I counted 17 buildings on property.
Right.
We were only allowed into 7. Mm-hmm. And of those 7, then they decided to scale it down to 5.
Yeah, I think
it turned out to be 7 anyway, because Dennis and Sue decided to.
I knew that was going to come. I knew that was coming. That was coming.
But of the 5 we hit were the hottest ones that we hit. It
was crazy. It was draining.
I mean, it turned it literally turned people against each other, because we were not prepared for what we were walking into, and Dennis can attest with his former team. I mean, me and Dennis and a couple others were outside. We walked in and it was like Royal Rumble in Mission Command. It was like, what the hell's going on? Like everybody was at each other's throats, and we couldn't figure out why. And it's never been a thing like that.
I mean, there was the buildings that we did do. They all had activity, but they had different types of activity and different levels of activity. And there was one that was really bad.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question, and we'll wrap it up a little bit before we ask Dennis where we can buy his books. What does it take to scare you? Like, is there something that would happen that would scare you?
Not like Dennis going, something made me jump kind of thing, but something that would scare you where you would question whether or not this was
continue.
Right.
Trudeau.
Okay. Yeah, Trudeau.
Yep.
when I research, I have a tendency to get connected to whatever I'm researching. And this has never happened before. Sometimes I get visions and stuff like that. I'm used to that. Sometimes I get messages in my head, but it all attributes to the research that I'm doing. And I always find out that I can use it during the investigation. Damon will tell you I keep most of that information to me, so I don't affect make us go in with blinders as far as what we're looking for. But this particular investigation, I saw something came to my house, which is, it's kind of like, this is my sacred space. Nothing enters.
Right.
And it scared the crap out of me. I shoot it away and in the blessing that I do. And I thought that was done. Well, that building that Damon was talking about and that Dennis was talking about that affected everybody, it came out, not physically, but I heard his voice in my head while one of our investigators was using his dowsing rods and having a yes-no question going on. He was answering in my head, and it completely, and this has never, ever happened to me, completely wiped me out. Scared me to my core, and I don't get scared.
Yeah.
I get a little, okay, what is that?
Yeah.
And fine, I'll address it. I deal with it. I have my protections. But this, I was messed up.
And it's when I see the rest of my team in that state that I went, yep, we need to shut it down. And that was literally, it was the last night of investigation. We were actually planning on staying until when we usually cut out at 3.
Yeah, we cut out early.
And it was like, okay, we're going to shut it down now and close this out because it is getting way too sketchy.
I think it's the same thing that affected Dennis's team.
Dennis's team beat feet early too. Bernadette was like, nope, we're done. It's out. Done. See ya. Yeah. Bye.
There's something very...
let's shit and get.
very bad in one of those buildings.
What about you, Dennis?
I know for me, what scares me is it's only happened a handful of times on the many investigations, and that's when something comes up from behind me. Something comes up and you're not seeing it, you feel it coming behind you, and suddenly it's on you or breathing on your neck or touching you or whatever. That scares the crud out of me, and I don't know why. I have this thing about, even I guess because I'm from the Utica area, I sit with walls to my back, like mafia stuff, but it's a big joke in Utica. You always sit with your back to the wall. Isn't it, Sandy? Everyone says that.
We actually did an episode on the Utica Mafia.
Yeah. And it's just coming from behind me where I can't see it coming. That scares me.
Yeah, it's very scary. I don't think I've had anything yet that has truly scared me. I'm sure that at some point something will come along.
And see, I had the same mindset. Sandy.
Yeah.
I had the exact same mindset that nothing can touch me. And so now it's one of those, okay, something can get to me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe for me, it would be maybe being touched. I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't come across the incident in Plainfield with Augusta Gein when I touched the stone. That didn't scare me. It just angered me. I felt very angry about it.
Those posy meds for her.
But but I don't know. I haven't come across anything yet that's really scared me. And I'm not saying it won't, because I definitely know that I have that, I'm capable of being afraid, but I just haven't yet found anything. So interesting.
It'll happen.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're saying this business long enough. It'll happen.
And Dennis, we can get your books on.
I got a funny story real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say that when we were doing the Ilion Little Theater, which was the old Remington carriage house, and I was on a ladder and I got pushed. I went to step and something pushed my leg and I fell about 10 feet to the floor. And I swear to God, I thought I pooped my pants. I swear to God. I thought I had a paranormal poop. You ever do that? You have you get traumatized. When I landed, I went, ugh. And I laid there going, oh my God, I crapped myself. I don't know. I think I did, but I didn't. Thank God.
Well, that's good at least.
They don't sell ghost hunting
causes physical harm to herself.
Okay, note to self: we have to add that to the equipment.
I know.
Got it.
I actually carry Depends in my equipment bag, along with my camera and the voice recorder and all that kind of stuff.
The end of a bag.
Yeah.
crowds, arguments, loud noises, narcissists, energy vampires. Does that seem scary to you? It can to an empath. Sandy and Todd from the Sandy and Toddcast invite you to join them for a new podcast, the Empathicary Podcast. These two empaths know exactly what it's like, and they'd like to share their stories, knowledge, and ideas with you. Dive deep into the world of the empath. The Empathicary Podcast with Sandy and Todd. Find it anywhere you find your podcasts and like them on Facebook.
That's going to wrap up this edition of Ghostober. I think, are all the Ghostober podcasts this month going to be called Ghostober Podcast?
Probably. We'll be like Ghostober, and then we'll come up with a cutesy name. I liked Ketchup and Mustard from a couple of weeks ago.
Listen, that was freaking brilliant.
It was very good. It was very good, I have to admit. So
I like, when you watch in the old days, all the sitcoms and stuff like that, they always had little titles that were very catchy, and I like that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I like kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Yeah. No, that was very, very good. And
rub here, rub there, and a couple of brum. That's how we stuff the day away in the merry old land of Oz.
We represent the Lollipop Kids. The Lollipop Kids.
Guild. Lollipop Guild. It's Guild.
The Lollipop Guild?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Because they're kids. They're supposed to be like the Lollipop Kids.
They're not kids, though. They're munchkins.
I know they're not.
They're the Lollipop. I believe they're the Lollipop Guild.
Are they?
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
Lollipop Guild.
You're probably right. It's been so long since I've...
Yep.
Now, see, it says the Lollipop Kids. Oh,
no, it
wait.
Doesn't.
The Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild. Somebody else must have searched kids at one point.
I'd actually like to play it for you, but I think MGM would probably ban it from airing on the podcast. We'd be in a lot
of trouble.
Yeah, almost as much trouble as with Disney Plus or Discovery Plus for using Ghostober. So
they don't care. They could care less. I think they're making more money than we are, Todd.
Probably just a little bit. So, well, don't forget to like us and tell your friends about us through Facebook. The page, the Sandy and Toddcast page, the group, Stay Weirdos, the Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Watch us on Facebook, get the extra content in the group. I mean, we just got so much out there. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and let's not forget the Empathicary Podcast.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. A new podcast with us.
New podcast that we're doing. And this one is sort of about us. It's not just about the woo-woo world. It's not just about the paranormal. This one's sort of about you and I.
Yeah, it's about how some of the gifts we have kind of dictate our lives a little bit, good and bad. So
yeah, good way of putting it. So we're going to, and you don't have to be an empath to enjoy this podcast, because even if you know somebody, and I guarantee you probably do know somebody who's an empath, not only will this help you in understanding them better, but maybe yourself as well. And if you are an empath, I think that hearing personal stories and thoughts and more information from people who are empaths as well kind of can help you learn how to deal with it and manage it and accept it.
Yep. And maybe if you're not an empath, maybe at least it'll help you have some empathy.
That's right.
Ding,
that
ding,
is
ding.
right. Ding, ding, ding.
Well, until next time, I was trying to come up with a really quick line from The Wizard of Oz to throw at you, but I've
gotten them all wrong so far. So
yeah.
I know.
Hey, we're the Lollipop Kids. Come on in.
I thought it was. I always thought it was Lollipop Kids.
The Lullaby. See, because it's the Guild and the Lullaby League.
Oh, that's, you know what? Yes, you're right.
Of course.
Listen, you're not always right, Todd.
I'm always right.
No, you're not.
Until next time, this is the Sandy and Toddcast. I am Todd.
I am Sandy.
Bye.
Bye.